that goes. This is my fourth conference for AES, used to be EWTS. I've moderated panels, I've emceed. Last year, David Yin was on my panel and got to know him and know what he's doing. And what was interesting, and this is a message for everybody, because I know sometimes we don't want to talk on mics, we don't want to get out there, we worry about what we're going to sound like, what we're going to do. David was in that capacity last year. He did wonderful on the panel, and it's led to him now being a speaker by himself. So if you have a story to tell, and I know everybody in here has stories to tell, come on up here and join this stage, because we all benefit, as we were talking about earlier. There's this collective benefit from hearing about what you're doing in the space and how well you're doing it and the ways that you're doing that. So with that, David, come on stage and take over, my friend.
Thank you. Is this working? Okay. Hopefully I won't trip.
Yeah, right.
Where's the... Do you guys have the clicker? AR doesn't solve that, sorry. That would be a good one, right? Click in the air, it'll automatically advance. So my name is David Yin. I work with Peterbilt Motors. I've been there for about 25 years, and as much as my colleague makes fun of me, I started in engineering. But I then also spent about 15 years doing technical publications. So anything service manual, operator manual, service bulletins, that was kind of my world. So I really got to understand what some of the challenges out in the service shops, what they are. But anyways, I'm going to talk about ARTech and kind of where we started, where we ended up. And like what Sean was saying, hopefully my story will inspire everyone here and you know, kind of help relight whatever flame may have started fizzling out, because it's a long road, it's a hard road, but it does have some success stories. So I know a lot of people here don't really know much about ARTech, and every time I keep talking to somebody, it kind of boils down to like, let me just show you. Right? So we have this video. It's about a minute-long commercial. It's got a lot of good music. It's kind of groovy. So I'll just let it play.
Proprietary software designed to streamline the service experience and improve customer uptime. ARTech utilizes a mobile-first approach and a user-friendly interface, enabling the service technician to have all the information they need on one device. Finding schematics or diagrams with ARTech is as simple as scanning a QR code. The service technician can also search for specific harnesses and connectors and view them in either 3D or augmented reality. In the 3D view, the technician can zoom in and out to get additional details. In the AR view, the service technician will see the schematic overlaid on the truck, giving them the freedom to walk around the vehicle while visualizing the exact location of the harness or connector. Additional apps accessible on the device include TCS 365, PACCAR Solutions Service Management, QuickServe, RapidServe, and more. Expand your digital toolbox and maximize your customers' uptime with Peterbilt ARTech.
You know, it's funny, every time I see that film, I don't know which one I'm more excited about, the augmented reality and extended reality or the trucks. I have a truck at home myself that I'm restoring, so just seeing that truck is quite enjoyable for me. But so let's take a kind of step back down memory lane, because this is kind of where it all started. We have here in front of us is a electrical schematic for a 1967 Model 359. This was our bread and butter for a long time. And the entire electrical system could be put onto one page. And you even had enough room where the designers could like draw little images of what a switch would be and what a fuse would be. And then 20 years later, this happened. And it's like, wow, what on earth happened? Well, they tried to fit it on one page, they couldn't, so they put it on 2 pages. But it was a mess. It was quite a mess. Today, this is like fast forward to 2010, we got a little bit better. Someone got a ruler out and decided to draw straight lines. But you know, one of the things that Mike Arzamendi always tells me is that these drawings are drawn from one engineer who's designing it to another engineer who's putting it together, and we've kind of forgotten about the person in the middle, the person that has to work on the truck. And actually, that's about the time when I met Mike Arzamendi. And if anyone wants to know, Mike Arzamendi is sitting down here. He's just waiting for his chance to heckle me. I think we told him no tomatoes in the conference room. I also have John Martin down here. He's also helped me with scaling this whole business. I couldn't do any of this without all that kind of support. Mike in particular is so passionate about all this. I don't know where it comes from, but he keeps getting it. But in 2010, he came to me and he said, David, our schematics, they suck. What can we do? Can we do something 3D? And this is 2010. I remember hearing a reference about 10 years ago, none of this was on the market, right? And you know, he stuck his neck out. He put some stuff on a PDF file that would rotate a 3D harness, and it crashed his computer. IT came over and told him, go away, you're in trouble now. Give me that laptop, no longer. Now he went and kept doing other things. I think he went over to a different plant, maybe because of the IT thing. I stayed over and doing technical publications, but then in about 2015, 2016, some of that new technology started coming back around where you could put these items on a phone, right? You could have AR on a phone. I think it was Hyundai. was doing something with operator manuals. And since I'm an operator manual guy, it all like flooded into my desk. So we decided let's take a look at some use cases. And in particular, we kind of started looking at the process that a technician has to go through when dealing with electrical repairs. So this is kind of a real simple diagram showing, you know, when a truck comes in, you got to do some triage, you have to grab all your drawings, and then you can start tracing the circuit. Now this is a really high level. There's a lot of data that goes into each one of those steps. And actually later on I'll show you the more detailed one. It's great for people that love data. It's not so great for people who just need a simplified view. But the majority of the time that we found was spent looking for the diagrams, finding your schematics. On a good day, it would take somebody maybe 30 minutes, you know, if all the moons aligned and there was no earthquake. But I'll tell you, sometimes these people would spend an hour or more, including up to like a whole day. And that can be frustrating when you're trying to fix something. You've got your customer yelling at you, get my truck back on the road. And I'm like, I'm waiting for a drawing. I can't find it. And then let alone trying to find a small connector inside of like a dashboard, for example. So we developed a program that uses augmented reality, virtual reality, that would help solve some of those areas. How do I find a diagram? How do I find a harness? How do I find a connector? How do I visualize a circuit that runs through something that I can't see? How do I do that so that I can troubleshoot it and get that customer back on the road? So we developed ARTech. And the AR stands for augmented reality. The tech part of that stands for technician, so it's augmented reality technician, but that's a lot to say. So we give them this 3D view, and just like an iPhone where they are really natural at, you know, pinching and zooming, they can do all that same stuff and interrogate the data. And when they do so, when they tap on things, they'll get this little box that gives them some information. Because the one thing I learned from writing service manuals is that no one wants to read them. So here we made it very simple, very straightforward to get all the data and the information that they need to see. We also gave them an AR view. And oddly enough, oops, that one went too fast. Is that not going to go? There we go. Sorry about that. So you aim the iPad at a truck, you can register the hood and start walking around. And oddly enough, when we first brought this to our customers, they started touching the screen. And we kept having to tell them, no, you can't touch the screen. And then we thought, maybe we need to let them touch the screen. So a couple of years later, we finally made it so that they can actually interact with the screen, which I understand now is XR, right? Mixed reality. So for us, we didn't push it out there, we let them ask for it. And then, of course, now that we had a good use case, we had a lot of people convinced, we had to start putting together a package of how we were going to roll this out. And that was not easy either. We had lots of discussions of what on earth is this? And this is where Mike Arzmeni comes into play, because he's like, no, that's not going to make any sense. I can't sell that. So here we are. And that little QR code, I swear it's not going to be scammed by someone else. I understand that's now a thing. If you want to point your camera at that, I promise it's not going to send you to some random site. It's going to show you a kind of a free version of what our app looks like. Now, you can't interact with it, but you can use some AR and put it on like the carpet or the table. And it kind of goes back to the original thing what I was saying, where a lot of people are saying, like, you just have to see it to understand what on earth we're doing. But it is on it's a mobile app, iOS, and it does show all the 3D schematics overlaid on the truck. And that was the number one thing that everybody could understand. And we also started trying to figure out, okay, what exactly are we selling? So we have put out this kind of list of what a subscription package looks like for our dealers. So when they buy one of our subscriptions, they get the iPad. And no, it's not a real wear, and no, we don't chunk it across the stage, but it's an iPad. And, you know, a lot of people are like, but what about the headsets? And we're getting there, right? Now, our technicians, we came across a handful that didn't even have a cell phone. So we had to start with something. And so the iPad was the most common denominator that everybody could understand and start seeing it. And now we are starting to get more and more questions about, okay, well, Vision Pro, are you going to do something there? So we're starting to see that, and that's good. What I'm excited about, we've been at this for 3.5 years now. We started off first year, we hit like 264 users, but today we're up to like 750, and yesterday John just told me Republic Services just bought a couple more. And I believe like, I saw Chick-fil-A was out here somewhere, and I know they have like, I think 4 of our tablets. We have over 650,000 VIN numbers in our system. And I think about a month ago, we were told, yes, you are allowed to start expanding your market and start including Kenworth trucks, which is our sister company. So PACCAR owns both Kenworth and Peterbilt. So the future is bright. Our backlog is huge, because every time we put out something new, someone goes, hey, well, what about this? Well, it's great. It is really great. And after seeing all this stuff out here, the vendors have started putting together. I'm really impressed with the maturity. I think we, back to that comment about 10 years ago, there was nothing, right? And now I came here and I'm seeing, here's a CMS for all your content. That's just incredible. I think we even came across somebody who was leasing out the headsets. I'm like, thank you. So we're here, and we hope to keep going and keep improving. Now, I know a lot of you wanted to see a little bit more data. What on earth did we do? And so this is the bigger, more detailed process map. We also recognize that these are the steps that ARTech would solve for them. And believe it or not, we even had some technicians say, you're not taking my job away, right? Like, no. We're going to help you. We're just helping you remove those pain points. We also did a Six Sigma study after we launched it to try to help understand and measure some of the savings Now that it was out in the field, we tried to measure some of the savings. And this is a long and arduous study. And that's why we didn't have enough data points. So one of the things we're tasked next year is to actually start going back out, redo this study, and actually really start putting some hard numbers to our solution. So with that, I did allow about 10 minutes. We could have questions and answers. No questions from this table. That's all I got to say, especially him. So anything, any questions at all? Everyone's like trying to get out or go to lunch.
Got some over here, David.
I may have missed it, but can you just talk about how you align the model to the truck and the process? Is it markers or markerless, and how that works? Do people like it? Is it accurate, stable, stuff like that?
It is, it's based on object tracking. It's not marker. We didn't think that technicians would be able to stick a marker reliably in the same place. So it is running off of the object, and we do use a little bit of some extended tracking once it registers.
No, same question. So yeah, well done. One over here.
Morning, I'm Galen Fadley with Caterpillar. Question on, so with your VIN specific, right, you have to at least have as-built data. I guess how challenging has that been? Can you get the exact right harness for the exact right VIN all the time?
You know, the whole back end is managed. So basically, every time a vehicle comes off the factory floor, we get a data dump. So to your point, there's been a balance of making sure we don't bite off too much. So it is as built from the factory, and we make sure we sell it that way. We don't try to explain that, you know, you're going to have aftermarket add-ons, or if you have a body builder putting on a dump body, we're not going to be adding that kind of content. Even though we are starting to make some inroads with some of the major equipment manufacturers that want to put their content in ARTech so that the customer actually gets to see the whole thing. But it has been a challenge. We've had times when some of the data doesn't want to come over. You know, sometimes there's a blip or a hiccup. And that keeps my developer very, very busy at night.
You kind of went past a slide pretty quickly there about the motion studies that you're doing. Can you talk a little bit more about sort of the after analytic process that you go through?
Yeah, we tried to design a study that would kind of measure the time it would take a technician to resolve an electrical issue. So we bugged a truck, and then we had an A and B technician running, one using all old processes, old technology, and then that same bugged truck would have to be fixed by another technician or the same technician using ARTech. And quite frankly, it's really hard to do that, really hard. I mean, it would take an entire day to get 2 test data points. So that's where I was like, we really need more data to really put that together correctly. But I'll tell you, there's a lot of people that keep telling me, like, David, this is like cheating. I can solve these things, no problem. It's like cheating. So, you know, the proof is there.
Anybody else? Yes.
Thanks. David, what's been the reaction of the dealerships, of the technicians, the people on the ground who are the recipients of the iPads and the solution?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because I swear there's a whole bunch of them that are hoarding it and hiding it and not letting it out of their sight. We've had a couple people tell me, yeah, I use it every day, and but I dare not let so-and-so use it, because it'll get lost or broken, and he doesn't want that to happen. A lot of them keep telling me, thank you for bringing something that will remove the roadblocks for a lot of these technicians. A lot of dealerships have actually taken it to career fairs because they recognize this, we have a technician shortage, and they are, just flocking to this application. And so it on the technician floor, it's really helping. Now, some of our older technicians that, they didn't want to use a computer a long time ago, they still don't really want to use a computer. Now they don't even want to use a mobile phone or let alone an iPad. They're coming around. They're coming around. But definitely, we used to have like a little bet. We'd put the iPad in the middle of the table, and within 5 minutes, all the younger kids would just swallow it up, and then they would turn around and start teaching all the older people. So it was encouraging. I've heard like, dude, this is like the Minecraft of schematics. It's like, okay. But definitely a cool factor. It's bringing a lot of energy back into the service environment. More positive. I know on the service side, we're always inundated with, oh, you got to get this fixed, and you got to get that fixed. And now all of a sudden, there's this breath of fresh air. It's like, oh, we actually have something, and we have a future of more improvements. So I think it's bringing a lot of positive energy to the after-sales side of the business.
All right, well done. Thank you, David.
All right, thank you.